which is refreshing because that's not what she's doing. For me, I thought
well, and how I can take it to the next level. Because she talked about like wanting her students to be able to be independent and figure out how to do it.
Yeah, like definitely that.
Well, I agree.
So now that led me here. Well, again, I didn't know
Some of your concerns are. I'm sure with the questions. Just be some questions.
I was kind of
Mine was
She strategically planned the San Antonio livestock show, so she couldn't be here today. But she did an excellent job, and we really appreciate her allowing us to come into her class and allow all of you to evaluate her. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. So you have in front of you a pre-conference and observation form. If you will have the yellow sheet out, that is what we're going to look at. And so this is her and Molly Sanders. If you don't know what these two women teach, they have nothing to do with each other. They're pretty different. Sheridan teaches horticulture and floral design and leadership in ag, and Molly teaches basic history. And so they are very different subject matters, okay? So you are going to, in this first part, you are going to answer the yellow portion of what you think Sheridan, how she responded to this based off the conversation her and Molly have. So this is just kind of what you think, what did you hear kind of a thing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want the lights off? No. Where's the light switch? This doesn't look like my light switch.
It takes it a second.
kind of confused. It says what went well, and then it says a positive note. Those are about the same. I checked those. Specific areas.
And something, just to kind of draw back into what we talked about this morning with the John Hattie research, remember that what we're looking for is things that are going to help improve the student achievement. It's things that we can do that will help to focus in on those. So be thinking about some of those key components, those things where we can really make a significant difference in what's going on with the students, where we can be involved. So what did you see in that context as well?
Having models.
She gives detailed instruction on the process of it, so she always checks that to make sure they understand exactly what these are most important to her.
Yeah, I think that was
Things that I wondered about, she has classes.
Right, because they didn't have anything in their hands. Right. So and then things like to me, I'm like, okay, I don't even remember.
Material distribution and like why, like she reflected why it was the way it was, and that it changed already, but she liked that way because she testified that it didn't work.
Right, it didn't work. And I think she also kind of had a moment where she realized that she wasn't going around and checking to see if the stems were back in the water. And she, it's not fair to other kids if those materials are not as healthy in the afternoon. And so those are things that she kind of reflected upon herself, just having a conversation. Molly didn't point those things out, and I think that's really important to say, is Molly didn't point those things out that she was doing wrong, but through the conversation, through the questioning techniques that she was using, it kind of allowed Sheridan to self-reflect on some of those things. Okay? So, any questions?
Hooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we stay on this for
Yeah.
a little bit longer? So, like, I guess one of the things, like, when you're a coach is that, like, I guess there's some assumptions that you come in with, and like they had that conversation. She said, there's knives, and there could be, and then like, but she had already had that planned out. Like, this is her classroom. She already had that. So, like, as a coach, how do you keep from falling into those traps where you don't assume, you know what I mean? Where like the assumption is that they have everything thought out and planned out the way that it needs to be.
Like, are you saying, how do you not, like, I don't think
Is it
I'm
like a
understanding your
procedure
question.
thing? Like they already know the procedures?
Like they've already tried something and it hasn't worked?
Well, like if I'm like a music teacher and I go into an English room, I might be like, oh, well, did you remember to teach now? You know what I mean?
You don't make any assumptions based on
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
personal lack of knowledge
Yeah.
about their classroom.
Yes.
And so, like, how do you keep from falling into that trap where, like, you think you see, like, you want to be helpful, but at the same time, like, you want to assume that they are, that they have it under control. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think even questioning their process, it allows them to self-reflect on why they're doing it. Does that make, like, it doesn't, I think it's never, I wouldn't get offended if someone asked me why I did what I'm doing the way I'm doing, because maybe it's not the best way, and maybe me talking about it will help me realize that maybe there is a better way that I haven't thought about before, but also I can start to remember why I'm doing it the way that I did it.
And I think it's also
I don't know if that
I think it's also very important, like we were talking about at the beginning, to make sure that when you are the coach in that particular situation, to let them know kind of what level you're at, what level of understanding you have. And if you've been in an English class and you've seen, you kind of, okay, I kind of get this, then you may be able to understand up here. But like, I've never been in this kind of class. I've never been in a floral class. So asking that question would be great. So I think just maybe the mantra of there is no stupid question might be a good way to go. Just don't be afraid to ask and say, look, I really don't know. I've never done this before. And that also kind of helps to foster the ultimate goal of coaching, which is that we get comfortable with each other enough to talk about those kind of things, to talk about procedural things, but also to talk about the deeper levels of teaching. And that's really where we're headed with this in the long run, is let's get comfortable with those, as Ms. Parkerson said this morning, collegial conversations, where we're really going in depth about our craft. So
I think most people wouldn't mind you questioning the process, because I would rather be honest about what I'm doing and understanding, because maybe I'm doing it, maybe I'm totally thinking the kids get why I'm doing it this way,